Well, it wouldn't be a carp video without having a traditional tunnel trip in it, now would it? So for the next 7 days, you're going to see myself and 23 other lads as we take on the challenge of the road and main lake at the mighty Gigantica complex. Can only mean one thing when you see the trees. We're getting close to Mecca. We're just on our way to heaven at the moment. Tomorrow we hit Gigantica. Well, the lads are all sorted out. They've done the draw on the road lake and they're off on to find their swims. The lads on the main lake are just doing their walk round and looking at the actual lake and ready for the anticipation of the draw here at the Gigantica complex. So looking forward to it. It's going to be an absolute session and hopefully that will be a really good trip. So let's see what happens throughout the week. Currently they're on their walk around the lakes and they're just going into some of the swims. As you can see here, the bailiff is just demonstrating and showing the areas of where the swims are, what the swims names are, where's best to fish. The bailiffs live on site, they live it, they breathe it, and they absolutely love it. Time for the draw to take place. All of their lovely faces as they're going up and drawing the numbers out of the old hat. Oh my God, he's only gone and got ball number one.
Well, number one, and I've made my choice. Right guys, I've come out number one in the draw, and this might surprise some of you. I've opted to fish the stock pond. There was 2 fish caught there last week and fish seen showing there this morning. So I've opted to fish the stock pond. The bonus of that is I can leave my rods in while we're having dinner in the lodge. Sweet.
Well, you join me in my swim. I'm over in the beach. I'm here for the next 7 days and hopefully we're going to make the most of it. So I'm going to give you a quick look at the swim and we'll show you how the swim is. We'll show you where we're fishing and hopefully we'll be into some action fairly quickly. As you can see, this is the lovely swim what we've got to play with today. We're going to be fishing just over there with the marker float. It's 21 to 23 wraps over there. Going to stagger the rods to see what happens on the first night. It's where the lad was fishing last week, so I'm going to stagger the rods and put them over there and see what happens. We're going to be using, and yeah, we're going to be using only one bait, guys. I'm going to be using this trip, and it's the SB2 wafters and some little bits of fake corn in there, soaking up some of the juices with the dumbbells and some little fake baits as well. Well, that didn't take too long. Fish on board, time for some spotting. Lovely little 40 pounder, banged in the net. First fish of the trip, absolutely made up. Let's have a look at some of the pictures. Well, I didn't think it would take that long to kick off in the beach. But yeah, Sunday morning, free fish in the net already. Happy days. So yeah, we're going to do some pictures then with the bailiff shortly. But 17 litres of corn went in yesterday. already. So if you come to Gigantica, remember, bring the bait, because the fish are big. They're hungry and they just want it. The more you can put in, the more the speed that they're going to get and more you're going to catch. So I'm really enjoying sitting here in waders this morning. It's one thing I would suggest to people: if you come to Gigantica, make sure you bring your wellies and make sure you bring your waders, especially around March time. A lot of water about. Well, just some of the fish that I managed to retain over the first couple of days. And as you can see, sometimes you have to call in the help when you get the old triple takes on board. My colleague from next door was more than obliged to come in and dive in and take his first carp from Gigantica. I believe it was also his first carp from France. So fair play to the young lad, and hopefully he enjoyed having a few fish caught from the beach. Well, less about me on this trip and over to Brad in Coes Point, where he's trying out the new glow-in-the-dark Spom with the old bright light on the top, and yay, and out she goes. New meal to Gigantica, Thai curry. Just remember, they do a lovely roll at lunchtime. So back over to the beach, and all three rods on the dancing floor again. And I don't believe it'll be very long before we go. And oh dear, look, yep, that was it. Another fish in the net. Just in a photo and the reel's off again. And there's another one on board. Happy days, and the steam train is going. Meanwhile, back over in the beach, I had to, we had some photos done of this lovely 49-pound common with the shotguns in the water. Brilliant fish, and my highlight for the week. So after catching a few fish from the beach and heading over to the main lake to have our dinner in the evening, it's nothing better than sitting having a few beers and a catch up with how the lakes are fishing. What more do you want when you're looking out of your bivvy and this is your view? It's just breathtaking, it really is. Well, over to James in the stock pond. He's done a few PVA bags for this evening, praying his luck is in. What a better way to celebrate an evening with your mates than catching big mirror carp. This is Matt in Decoy. The weather was so good, Michael decided to take his top off and go sunbathing. Well guys, with the sun coming up today and the temperatures going up to 16 degrees, there's only one thing what's going on my rigs today, is I'm going to put a zig on. This is a size 6 Kamakuru crank, and I'm going to tie it on with a Panama knot. As you can see, it's nicely done, and I'm just going to pull that down. I'm going to put a little black kicker on that with little black kicker and little black foam on there as well, and then I'm going to use a little clear anti-tangle sleeve to go on the other end, attach that to my rig what I've got, and then out she goes. So remember, all I would say, don't push on the lead too tight on your tail rubber, because you want to drop that lead and so that you're not got that big old weight carrying around. So you want to use that big weight to get them on the old zig. Well, I didn't think it would take that long to catch on a zig. This one just shy of the 40-pound mark. Let's pop over to the main lake and see how James got on for his first night.
Well, first proper morning here at Gigantica. Look at that for a sunrise. Oh, look at them out here boshing. Indications. Sun's creeping up over the trees. I've got one in the sling. Another one over there. Look, I couldn't have asked for a better first night here at Gigantica. Given that the week before there was, I think, 3 fish caught. Last week there was a few caught, but only out of 2 swims out of the 12. The other 10 swims didn't produce a fish. And I've managed one on my first night, so yeah, got to be pleased with that. Got to be very pleased with that.
Meanwhile, back over in the beach, the fish have decided to move in. It's first thing in the morning at bite time over here in the beach, and I've got 3 rods right on the dancing floor, all in front of where them fish are all boshing all over them. And I don't believe that it'll be that long before the rods scream off again and we have another fish in the net. Lovely to see the big old carp just hoofing themselves out of the water, cleaning themselves and getting ready for the actual fishing season this year. I really can't say how much it was an absolute pleasure to sit in the beach for the first 3 or 4 days of my trip and just watching all of these fish. Just it was more pleasurable just actually watching the fish dive out of the water than it was actually trying to catch some of them. And it was just so relaxing, just sitting there in the mornings, and all you're hearing is just crash, crash, crash of lumps of big carp. And you just know for a fact that these massive carp are just swimming around in your swim. And all you want to do is just get them rods out there, get them on the dancing floor, and making sure that you're fishing more effective. And the point of the whole video of showing you the beach is showing you that the fish are there. They're there in numbers, and this is how you have to fish with when you're going to commercial lakes like this. And when you find the fish, is feed them, put the bait in. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning putting a pail of bait in, ready to get my bite time at 7 o'clock. Up until 11 o'clock. After 11 o'clock, the swim just went dead. But after I finished with them at 11 o'clock, they then decided to go on to TP2, where Terry started clubbing them quite heavily, and then on to turtles, where also Ben started grabbing a few as well. So the whole point of actually fishing as a group when you go on abroad is fish as a team, and shows more effectively why we should fish as a team and how we should fish as a team. Because if it wasn't for me pushing them out of the beach, most of the other people on the lake wouldn't have actually caught anything the week we was actually there. So forcing them out of where they want to be and actually catching them is the best thing what could have happened. Well, it's Monday, and yes, a few more fish have been out this evening. There's been another one caught on the main lake in Big Girls, which Paul's had. Ben Atkins is off the mark in turtles, which is absolutely fantastic to see. It means the fish are on the move. They're going round and past people, so the lake, on the road lake, is starting to fish well. Myself personally, I was absolutely tired last night, so I've had a really, really good night's sleep. I pulled the rods in, rested the swim, which is what the beach is designed to do. The more you rest it, the better results you get, apparently. So I've rested the swim all last night, had a really good night's sleep, got rid of the bags underneath my eyes, as you can all see. The blackness has gone. I'm feeling really, really fresh and really, really positive. Rods went out this morning about 10 minutes ago, so let's have a look, see what we can catch this morning. But the weather at Gigantica has changed. The rain's come in now, and literally, the waterproofs are out. We're in March, we've got to remember we're still in March. But there's a lot of water around at Gigantica, or all of France. So if you're coming out to France this year, make sure you bring your waders, make sure you bring your wellies. You will need them, without a shadow of a doubt. But for me personally, we're going to crack on fishing this week. It's Monday, and we'll try and show you some of the fish what have been caught from around the complex. Different day today, really. It's Monday. The rain is coming in really hard. Swims are still flooded, so you will need your waders and your boots. But yeah, it's still a lovely view this morning. For me, it's going to be time. Put the kettle on. Well, now the rain's stopped, and yeah, it's time for a little bit of a... Oh, hang on a minute. Let's go and weigh this fish. Well, and they're off again for another run. Trying to keep up with these carp is just a nightmare. Steam train. Don't you just love it when you're playing a fish and you just hear this sound? Good, good. Yeah, again, another double pickup here on the beach. It's absolutely lovely. Well, that double take was just a couple of 20-pounders. So we've slipped them back without no photos, less stress for the fish, and headed over to the decoy. Well, over in decoy with Matt, and look what he's actually gone and caught. A 40.
44.
44.2. Lovely mirror.
Go on, baby.
Lift him up. So join me in the beach this morning. We've had the lovely dolphin show over on the far bank there, from between the Christmas tree and the silver birch. It's been like that all morning since about 6:30. But now coming up to bite time, which is 7:30. I've just slipped the hook out of a real nice fish. Unfortunately, it decided it didn't want to come in the net at the same time, so that decided to swim back. But that was another good, decent 30-pound fish that decided to swim back. It's nice when you get to see him because you know what the weight of the fish is, but it's also disappointing. There you go. The dolphin show started again. There she goes, another one. And this normally lasts for approximately 2 hours in the beach, and then they disappear for the rest of the day. This is how it's been for the last couple of days. So we're trying to introduce more and more food, try and get them in there. So this morning I went round and I've put 17 litres of food from point A to point B, all spread along there with a throwing a throwing stick. Not boilies. When I mean a throwing stick, it's a scoop with a long pole, and you just shoot it out a couple of rod lengths off the bunion. I'm going to top that up this afternoon. I'm going to try something a bit different. Speaking to the bailiffs, and said they do like the sound of the spom in the road lake. So this afternoon we're going to try and see if we can get an afternoon bite and actually spom over onto there and see what that difference that makes. Because we've caught fish, we're actually starting now to have a little play round of trying to work out what's the best method to try and catch these fish on the road lake. And then we can pass that knowledge on to the actual other people there is other people on the lake which are still blanking. It does happen, but there's a majority of the people on the road lake have caught. It's just a matter of time for the others. They will catch by the end of the week. I'm quite sure they will do. On the main lake, it was another very quiet night last night. Nobody had no fish on the main lake again last night, so very quiet. I don't think they've actually woke up yet on the main lake, but the road lake is definitely kicked off. So let's see what happens, and we'll take it from there. So we're over in TP2 and Terry's had an absolute stonker of a fish. It's a 46-pound common. Terry, how do you feel, mate?
Buzzing, mate. That's a new PB for me. Banger. Mwah. Let's get this one back home. There we go.
Well, after his PB just been smashed, Terry then goes and tops it with Hanson at 66-pound and the top fish of the road lake for the week. Well done, buddy. A top result for you. So a little move for me midway through, and sees me going onto the main lake watching the tench go through the water. You can't beat barbecue night at Gigantica. This is Joe doing the chicken on the barbecue. Oh, absolutely lovely smell coming from it. Well, barbecue night, you just can't beat the food. The chicken, absolutely banging. The sausages, well, just got a lovely bite to it. But the whole evening, what the lads arrange, fair play to the two bailiffs, cracking job. Well, back over to James in the stock pond and sees him catching the fish of the week with this 50-pound, 10-ounce common carp from the main lake. Well done, James, and a great achievement on a very, very hard week.
I'm losing this fucking... Yeah, I am losing the strength. Come on, James. You need bigger hands. I do need bigger hands.
Pretend it's a bottle of Kraken.
That'd be gone, mate, if it was a bottle of Kraken.
Lovely.
That fish to your right a bit. That's it.
That's perfect. Jag with the distance into the water.
Shit. What are you saying, Ben?
Yes.
What you just caught, Ben?
45 pounds, 8 ounces of French mirror carps.
From where?
From Gigantica.
Good work, chap. Good work.
PB
So
Friday.
here we are again on the Friday PB wall. 3 lads on here today and plenty of buckets. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let them have it. Brilliant.
Is that the best you've got? Proud of yourselves. Well done, guys. Good work,
Well done, lads.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bailish. Thank you.
Well, some of the big girls on the main lake didn't come out this time, but coming up to this wall and having a look at these massive big old fish just reminds you of why we come to Gigantica. And yeah, there's some absolutely lovely fish in here. For me personally, I've had an absolute epic week fishing in the beach and then fishing over onto the main lake. Highlight of the trip is the 49-pound common for me over on the beach. But on the main lake, James has smashed it with a 50-pound 10, which is an absolute chunk of a beast of a fish. But it just reminds us why we come to this lake. All of these special carp, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. And for me personally, that's a 2024 season done for Gigantica. Catch you on the next trip. However, just before we go, here's a few of the fish what come out of the main lake and the road lake on the actual trip. And I had the absolute pleasure of witnessing quite a few of them. Fair play to the guys who were all caught on the trip. It was a tough week out there, but we made it happen. We kept a cool, we kept to the spots, we keep feeding, and we got the results what we needed. The lads what concentrated and didn't lose their head really had an absolute cracking week. And yeah, the pictures and the results to show that if you're off to Gigantica and you're going to be fishing the road lake or the main lake, just remember one thing: keep your cool, you're fishing a week, take it easy and enjoy some of these fish.
So now we're down in the beach, Steve. 56 fish of the trip so far. Biggest one of the trip as well, 49 pound. Nice common.
Up you go.
Nice fish, mate.
What a beautiful fish. Off you go. Come on.